Hello, this is David Use with another video for Genealogy Basics. Today we'll be covering the organizing family research files and photographs. Um, so we'll start with the files. Uh, you're going to have paper files and digital files. Whatever you come up with, you might be looking at a lot of different systems, examples out there on the internet. I think just take whatever suggestions are out there and modify it to match your needs. Pick a system and, as best you can, try to stick to it. That way, you're always doing the same steps, and you'll find things easier. Best to jot down generally what your system is. What sort of names or information you're going to put into naming files, how you're going to tag your paper folders, and best to use the same system in your digital world and your physical paper world. I find that then you don't lose anything, less chance of losing things. In paper files, I have been transitioning to a binder system. I started out with a folder system. And it's important to use ASCII folders so you don't harm the contents, especially if they're valuable documents. Um, label everything clearly. My system was always a last name first, and as you'll see, I always put at least a birth year with that name so that I can distinguish between similarly named people. And I find that if you can, the hanging folder system, like in the picture here, is better in that if you have only a few folders, they tend to bend and lay up at an angle, and you could be damaging something inside, uh, where the hanging folder prevents that. Um, I I have started going to the binder system because in caring for individual documents, I wanted to start putting those into sleeves, uh, plastic sleeves. So I started uh, moving to binders. And how I have it is I have a family name, just the last name, and then I have individuals in there. And I've sized different size folders. So a family that only has maybe a few names or is a short line, um, or at least now it's a 1 inch binder or even 3/4 inch binder, real small, and then 2 inch binder for a big family name, or if I know there's a lot of people. I also label by researcher. I inherited some research by a family member, and I have all of her work on one folder to recognize her research. But I subdivide those folders by people. I have all originals, valuable documents in plastic sleeves, and then I have gone through and digitized any documents that are supporting sources so I can put them online or in my tree for easy access. So, transitioning to digital files, uh, I use, as I talked about here, same system as paper, which is last name first with the birth year. That's how I do it. Um, but I start first with a major folder for each major group or line, because you don't want to subdivide this too much in that um, you know you have kids from two different lines all the time. When a marriage occurs, you've got two lines coming together, and if you like divide it up at great grandparents, how do you manage the uh, family below the great grand? So I just have it in major project lines. So my folders are generally my two big folders are my family, and then my wife's family. Uh, then put in the subfolder for each person. And you can see how I named it here. And then under that, and if you've seen some other videos, I always have a subfolder within the person's name for original downloads. So when I download and haven't yet annotated the images with citations, I have it stored in that area and know that it has no citations. And then I add the citation and move it down to the person's name folder. So the images will start in original downloads, annotate them, and then I'll save them down in here. So you need to take a look at a couple other videos to see that. And but depending on the folder, you might have different needs, different subfolders. Um, you know, uh, I do have, and we'll take a look at this in, for instance, William Bunny. I've had to divide it up some more. Um, so what I'll do here is just open up here. Let me get to the example folder that I have. And here's just samples of the files. And I'm just going to open this up and just let you see how things are organized. So William Bunny, I have a lot of documents for William Bunny, but some of these are huge collections. For instance, the Civil War pension file that I received, there's 73 pages. They're just sitting here individually, unannotated. Again, my practice is to leave, these are how I received them. I keep them all together as originals. I have created a PDF that down here, it's huge. It's a PDF of the file. Of course, I attached the citation page, and then the images are in here, and there's 73 pages of documents from the pension file. So that's a little cumbersome, and so let me close that up. What you will see then is, for instance, this questionnaire is very important in a lot of my documentation. I have pulled individual sheets and have annotated. And I have to excuse this annotation. This is one of the first ones I did, and the citation area is almost as big as the document. I've gotten a little smaller, realizing people can use the Zoom. But here's this document, and it's annotated. Now I can attach this, but the citation recognizes it came from a pension file, and that there's pages. But here you go. Everything's here, nice and neat. And each, let me go back here. So each name has, the, oh, here it is. So each file name has the name of the person as it's spelled in the document. Then the type of document, I showed you census or pension files, and the year document's created, if that makes sense. That pension file was over a range of dates, so I think Civil War pension file was good enough to identify it, and then the location of the document creation. Do the best you can of what you have available for these things. But let me turn off that sound. Excuse that. Then let me take a look here, show you Sarah Cassidy, some examples of here. So here, right here, 1910 census. In the document, it was written out as SOAR, not Sarah Bunny. And then the county and the state where she was located. That helps you understand where this document came from. And again, prefer to reflect what was in the document. And if you come in here, um, here it is, bunny sore. So it's not a misreading. That's what the enumerator wrote down. But because of the daughter's name and also that her son lived a few doors away, he's right up here, George Bunny, we knew that this is the Sarah Bunny, and a lot of other date, her age lined up, all these state information about her parents and herself. So we knew it was the right one, but I put the name that was in the document, and I put in parentheses Sarah just so that you didn't get confused. Uh, so um, that's the way I do it. Maybe you have a different method. I think one other important thing is that I only keep one document for each person, and I keep that in the key person. Like for a census, the head of household. Um, I tend to keep the marriage certificate with the groom, um, and then keep such as birth or death certificate, especially the birth certificate. I don't keep it with the parents. I keep it with the person that was born, um, and they're same with their death certificate. Um, so let me go again back to that sample folder. You can see here that William Bunny, there was a 1960 census for the family, and it also enumerated Sarah. But Sarah Cassidy, his wife, um, I don't have that file here for her. What I have instead, as I'm recommending down here, is um, is to you know leave a note behind using a text file. There's nothing in this text file. I just use the text file to put a note in the directory that when you want to see the 1860 U.S. Census, you should see William Bunny, uh, the folder, and that way some people know where to go. Now I'm going to talk about all these other things. These are links to uh, these shortcuts. So I will show you how that. Now that, let me just give you that tip, and we're going to come back at the very end for people who are really experienced with computers. But what you would do normally is you go down towards the end of your list. You right click, and you come down. You create shortcut, and then here it is. It says shortcut at the end, and you can then um, copy this or cut this. You can move it. You would use the cut, uh, then come over here to Sarah, and then do paste, and there it is. And let me reorder it. And there is a link to the file. Uh, so there's the file. It's not sitting in the Sarah folder, it's over in the William Bunny folder. Okay, so there is a problem with these links, is that if you change any names of the folders after you make the links won't work anymore. Or if, for instance, you don't do that, but you move all the folders, for instance, you have a cousin that wants all your research and you're working with them, and you move all your folders over there because it's now on a different computer and different file names and everything else, it will most likely, it will not work or function these shortcuts. So I'm going to come back to it. This is a real computer geeky thing that's way at the end of this video presentation. So I'll leave it for later. So you also have non-people type of files. So I have a whole system. I've created folders for genealogical topics. I have a folder for just, uh, actually, I group them all together under genealogical research. And underneath that, I have census folder, and I keep articles or information or templates for the censuses. I'll keep all in the census folder. Um, I have some for locations. So I have information about Germany, and it's in a Germany folder under overseas. Uh, then uh, I have then a special archive folder just for family trees. So you want to periodically, when you've done research, save your family tree either from your software. If it's online, it's always being backed up. Even though I recommend doing some kind of backup, even from your online, in case you accidentally delete a branch, you could recover that, even if it's a GEDCOM file or something else like that. Photographs we're going to come back to. One option is to put folders, subfolders of photographs under people and put them there. I don't like that. And I'll come back later in just a few minutes. I'll come back to photographs, but I have a separate. I like to have my photographs completely separate from my family photos because I have personal photos that I'm organizing, and I just have a family photo section within my photo collection, and then I'll talk about how I divide that up. And lastly, in all these digital file works, make sure you have a backup plan and also how to share that data in case something happens to you. I, save copies periodically of all my work to the cloud. That way, if my hard drive goes, I'm got a backup. I also have some external drives I keep backups on. Um, I keep uh, also, it's important to keep some versions um, from maybe a couple years ago. That way, if a file becomes corrupted, you can go back and see if you can get a version of the file that isn't corrupted, bring it forward. And I also, once a year, share my research with key people who, if something happened to me, they can at least get most of my work and pick up uh, where I left off. So, and of course, in those circumstances, make sure you have some written instructions on how to achieve it. Okay, moving on to photographs. So I'm going to tell you how I do it. I have some articles in here that I'll point out. I'll give you those links. They're very good articles, very different approaches, but they're all really interesting. And again, you need to pick a system that works for you. What I do is if a collection is small and real unique or very valuable photographs, and I have a photo here of one of these, is first step I do is always digitize to get this also in a digital form. Um, I then put the photo, actually, the photo is always here on the right. Over here, I'll come back to what this is on the left. This is not a photograph, this is a printout of the photograph. But the photograph is here. I store it in a plastic sleeve. Um, this clamshell box can hold about 20 sheets. I've got about 15 sheets in this collection. Um, then over here, I flip the page here, and this is the back of the photograph here. I have purchased some acid absorbing paper that I slip in behind because this photograph is on cardboard backing. I'm trying to slow the decay, and you can see also they tape. Tape is horrible. They tape this information right here on the front. But anyway, I'm trying to help slow the process, so I have some acid absorbing paper. Um, but then I went into PowerPoint. I took the digital copy of this. I put it in the PowerPoint. I then created information that on the back I have no date or location. Now, what we're doing is we're interviewing some of the people that had these photographs originally, and we're going to add notes about information that we gathered from the interviews right here underneath. So this uh, this printout on acid-free paper is to get some additional information so you don't have to look on the back. And the main reason why I had to do this in this collection is because of these sheets. I couldn't see the backs easily, so this helped a lot. And then this is what the clamshell case looks when it's finished, when it's closed up here. So that's how I approach this. I target this approach for small collections. This was only like 30 or so photographs, and they were all older. Um, then, and that this is my approach here, is then I get into um, my grandparents that took all sorts of photos. I There's a lot of photographs I don't know anything about. So I've what I'm doing, and I'm saying this is a work in progress. You can see here I haven't labeled these yet, but these are an example of archival sleeves that you can then put 10, 20 photos in each. But take the best photos or the most interesting photos. You know, it might be only 1 in 20. Um, digitize it and then put the rest of the photographs in here. Give some coding, a way of finding this again. Develop your organization. Put in here, make sure you put in, like before, is putting your name of people that are in here, the year that you think the photographs were taken. Maybe it's events, Christmas or a reunion or a birthday party. You can put that all in there. And then best is to put all that information into some kind of finding aid, such as a spreadsheet. That way, somebody can go to the spreadsheet, or you can go to the spreadsheet and try to locate all. You remember a particular photograph, you can go find it again. So digitized digital photographs, like I said before, I keep all my photographs together. I create subfolders by the creator. And the reason why I do that is by flipping through the slides by the creator, you get to see what they collected or what they thought was important, or what they photographed. So you get a feel of that creator. So, and if I'm digitizing, I digitize always in a uncompressed format. Again, some other places in my discussions I talk about this, but that's a TIFF, PNG, RAW, or BMP type format. TIFF and PNG are probably the most popular. Anyway, I scan them, I save them at this. I also make a JPEG file for sharing, because these uncompressed format files will be like 8 megs or bigger. I try to keep it below 10 megs, but a JPEG of a similar size might only be 1 megabyte. What you normally get when you like send a file by the camera, from the camera. But on the file, put on the name, put the date. I order it by dates. Um, you know, as best as you can. Uh, Put in who's in the photograph, the place, and again any event, and then include this in your backup plan. Again, I will show you someplace else about the corruption that can occur to digital photographs. It does happen. Here are the articles. Um, Here's an articles on digital files and how to organize. Here's some on paper files, and then here's the three articles right down here on organizing photographs, print and digital. I really like the first and the third one. They're you know easy, allow you to make up your own method. Um, this middle one is a lot more complex, where you tie the photographs to your family tree, because and the issues that you sort of need to have your family tree all ferreted out to really do this correctly. I- I'm not a big fan of this, but I provide it just to see how different people think, approach this different ways. Okay, so that's the normal part. Now, if you're really into computers, and like to have, especially if you were like familiar with DOS back in the day for Windows, before Windows on the PCs, I am going to show you some pretty DOSy stuff to create relative shortcuts for your files. But please sign off. Please stop this video if you're not into that. I've warned you, so please stop the video before I go any further. So I'm going to go on for the geeky stuff here. Um, Back in the day, uh, in DOS, um, so the objective here is to find a way of giving shortcuts so that I can hand off, for instance, all my files for my family group, give it to my niece, who's the one that's going to take over if something happened to me, and you know I'll I could hand that all over there, and the links will still work even if it sits on a different computer, as long as the files are kept all together. And behind that is this um, little bit of a cheat. This double dot when you type out path names means that it represents everything before that current directory. So, for instance, if you're in Sarah Bunny, and I'll go into Windows or into the DOS environment and show you this. Um, but if, for instance, you're in Sarah Cassidy's uh, folder and you wanted to change directories, all you would, instead of typing all the little stuff here, you can represent that with the double dot slash, and you could change directory to uh, William Bunny, or, and or if you're within this, if you're sitting here within original downloads folder and you want to change directories, and you go over here and you can get into the diaries folder. Okay, and let me say right now, if you haven't seen DOS, in the old days we called them directories, not folders. So um, it's all the same thing. The folder is a better graphical representation of what's going on here. Um, so so I'm going to walk through this, and here's what's good. I'm going to go through and show you, and right here is the key command that I'm going to be using. This is what you would insert in the properties folder. Now I'm going to go through this so you can see how I do this. So I'm going to go to William Bunny's folder. I'm trying to make a shortcut for the 1860 census. I'm going to do create shortcut. And here, as I've done these steps here, so let me delete that and show you again. You right click, go all the way down to create shortcut. There, this little symbol is the only thing that says that it's a shortcut, but we're going to improve that. You right click it again. Now you right click on the shortcut and you go way down to the bottom to properties. And now you can edit the properties. And right now, this shortcut would have to be on the D drive and look at the bunny folder. Now, let me do this. So I'm going to insert that command here, and I have it saved. Now, this is another help thing. You can go the Apple logo and V and to open up your clipboard. And these are some of the things that I was working on. You can see all these slides, but way down here, and just so you know, if you like this, if let's say you paste all the time William Bunny, you can pin that on your clipboard. So it's always in your clipboard. And way down here, I have that command I was talking about. I've got it pinned in my clipboard. So there it's in there. And now that I just pasted it, it's up at the top of the clipboard. And I paste it again. Now when I apply and go OK, see that symbol changes. Now it's a it's a relative shortcut. And what I can do now is I can move that, cut this, move it to Sarah's folder, and do paste. Well, I'll replace because I had that in there before. Let me reorder everything here, and there it is, 1860 cents. And when I double click that, it opens it up there. Now let me go. I'll just show you in the with the command prompt what's going on here. This is the feature command prompt. So here's the old DOS. What's going on in the background? I'm over on the D drive. So you do D:. Hey, this is real geeky stuff. I warned you before. Those of you who are still watching and are blazing over, I warned you. So, yeah, take me seriously next time. So I can change directory, and I just know that it's user doc example family tree folder. Welcome to DOS. And in here, I have in this directory, here's those folders. It look just like this. Yeah, folders called directories in the old DOS world. Here they are. And if I was, so you can do Control C, copy that. Yeah, that didn't work. So there you are. Now I'm in the William Bunny folder. And so instead of going back and typing everything, I could change over to the Sarah Cassidy folder by just getting that information and typing it. And there I am. So you see how those dots, I would have had to type that whole darn thing to get over the Sarah Cassidy folder. Anyway, that's what's just going on with those two dots. But the great thing about these two dots is that it doesn't have to be specific So once it's on another computer, if maybe they put it on their C drive and have it in some other folder, it's not in a documents folder, um, it would still work as long as it was in a one folder had all these names. So anyway, real geeky stuff. Like I warned you. Um, but here it is in the slides how to do that and how you have this, and then you can put this link in any folder. What I did is all the kids have a separate folder, and this shortcut's in there. Anyway, thank you, and I'll talk to you soon.